You think you want me to turn it off?
Then you just put it on silent, it'll be fine. We'll just have a seat in that brown chair right there, please, sir.
You want me to put my mask?
That's your choice. If you want to keep it on, you want to, you can take it off. Give me just 1 second, I'll be right back.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir, if you would just give me your full name, date of birth and age, and your address, please.
My full name is Carlos Leon Jimenez. I'm an international student. Well, not a student anymore. I'm an international person from Colombia. My address is Louisiana, zip code 71457. And what else?
Your date of birth and age.
I was born no.
Okay, so how old are you?
I am 24 years old.
24. Okay, and do you go by Carlo or do you go by...
Carlo.
Okay, sir. Mr. Carlo, I'm Lieutenant Jeff Townsend with the Natchitoches Police Department. I'm just going to get your statement today. Instead, I know you spoke with Sergeant Parrott, but he's tied up on something else right now, so he asked me if I could just go ahead, and I know you got to get to work. Where do you work at, Mr. Carlo?
I work at the Natchitoches Parish Library. Part-time.
Part-time. And were you at work this past Saturday?
Yes, sir. It was me and my boss, Rosalind Lacour.
Okay. And while you were at work Saturday, was there an incident that occurred where y'all had to contact the police?
Yes, sir. Do you want me to keep talking
Well,
about it?
who called the police? Do you remember?
It was my boss.
It was your boss, Miss Rosalind?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about what happened. What prompted y'all to contact the police?
Well, so like it was during lunchtime, and she wasn't even supposed to be there. She was just covering lunches because we were a little bit understaffed, and so it was the two of us. I was pulling things from the shelves for patrons that were put in holds and whatever, and then this patron walked in. He walked in. He came through the stairs that connect the first floor with the second floor, and then he walked in. And he didn't look to the right where the circulation desk is at. He kept walking, and then my boss was like, "Hey, can I help you? Is there anything I can help you with?" And then in a very rude manner, he said, "What is there that you could help me with?" You know, it was very rude and aggressive about it. So she was like, "Oh, I was just trying to help, sir. I'm sorry." And we didn't say anything. She just said, "Hey, that man is angry," or whatever. And then he proceeded to walk towards the back of the stacks. He was walking towards the back, and then he did this. He walked towards the back of the stacks, and then he walked this way, and he kept looking for something. We just couldn't figure out what it was. He walked around, and then we have the DVDs right here, and then an emergency exit right here. And then he didn't even acknowledge the DVDs. He just looked at the exit, looked up and down, and then he did this, and then he walked back the same route, and then he went towards the area where we're supposed to have a coffee machine installed, and he was there. And then, we also noticed that he had two backpacks. He had one on his back, and he was carrying one on his right hand. So that was strange, at least to me. And so he went towards the back. And my boss said, there's something weird about this. I'm just going to go call the police. You stay here, and I'm going to tell them to just, park outside or something, and then if they need to come inside, then I'll tell them. I was like, okay, sure, go ahead. While I was by myself and she was outside calling the police, I started hearing, like it was noises like this. And
Like it was something being set down?
Yes, on the desk, and very loudly. And I was like, I'm by myself. I shouldn't go check by myself. I'm going to stay here. But it kept happening. Then she came back, And then she heard it, and she was like, "What is that?" I'm like, "I think that's the guy." We had other patrons, but they were reading, you know, like 2 more patrons. We were pretty empty that day. He kept doing it, and I was like, "Hey, I have these books right here. I'm gonna go shop in that area, and then I'll tell you." So I went back, and she said, "Be careful." I went back, and he wasn't making eye contact with me, but he was like glancing at me, you know, to see if I was like paying attention to what he was doing, and like I was trying to do the same thing, and he kept like looking at me, and taking things out of his backpack. I couldn't see anything because there was a plant covering my view. So he kept doing the same thing. I went back and I told my boss, he's taking things out of his backpack, and this whole time in my head I was like, he's putting together a gun or something like that. Not gonna lie, I was pretty scared because I've been here in the States almost 7 years, and I've seen the news,
Right.
you know, and you just gotta be wary and you gotta be cautious and all of that. And it's a public space, so anything can happen. So
You could not see what
No.
he was pulling out of his backpack.
no, I could not see it. And then, so yeah, that's what he was doing. And then one of the police officers arrived, and he walked towards the back, and then I heard them talk, and then the rest of them arrived. And that's when they were talking, and he started saying they were violating his First Amendment and his Fourth Amendment and just everything.
All right. When he came in, could you tell how he was dressed? Can you give me any description on that?
He was wearing jeans, tall, at least taller than me. I'm 5'9". I'd say he was about 6'1". What else? I couldn't really see his face that well. I think was he wearing a mask? I can't remember, so I'm just gonna say that I can't remember.
Okay.
But I could not see his face properly. I don't know if it was because he was wearing a mask or maybe he had a jacket that covered his face. I don't remember very well.
Was this a white male, black
White
male?
male.
White male.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, did you have any verbal interaction or physical interaction at all with him?
Not at all.
So he comes in, and I just want to make sure I'm tracking correctly. He comes in through the stairs entrance to the library, walks toward the back of the library, around, sees the emergency exit, looks it up and down, turns around, walks back the same path, goes into the area where you're supposed to be getting a coffee pot installed, and then that was enough to alarm your boss.
Yeah.
And she says that she's going to step out and go ahead and call the police.
Yeah, because this whole time he wasn't just like walking around. He was like, as I said before, it looked like he was looking for something specific. We just couldn't figure out what it was. He was like doing this, you know.
Okay.
So.
All right. And while he was doing that, looking around, was he looking at any books, or was he looking at the structure?
It was more like maybe cameras. I think that's what he was looking for. I think.
Okay.
And yeah, because he kept looking up, you know.
All right. So when your boss steps out to contact the police, you stayed, I'm assuming, at the desk.
So
And that's when you started hearing the banging noises,
Yeah.
as if something was.
Yeah.
So your boss comes back in, and you had some books you needed to go follow anyway. So you walk in that direction to see what was going on. And when you got to where you were at, you said he wasn't staring at you, but it was like he was watching you enough to see if you were watching him.
Yeah.
But you could not see what he was taking out of his bag.
No, sir.
All right. Did you ever find out what it was that he took out of his bag?
Not really, but the next day, we found, well, not the next day. The next day was Sunday. Monday, we found 3 hard drives stacked together, one on top of each other, and it would make sense. Like they were making that noise, and so we found that. We found a long cable, and his laptop wasn't there. So maybe that's what he was doing, and to me, it seemed like he meant to be disruptive.
Okay.
He meant it.
Okay, and that's the impression that you got.
Yes.
Okay, those 3 hard drives that you located Monday, did they belong to the library?
No.
Where are those at now?
I'm not sure. I think they have the circulation desk.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the cable that you found, did it belong to the library?
No.
Okay. And it would be with the hard drives?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how we knew that they were his. Just no one went in that area on Monday.
Okay.
I worked the morning shift, so that's.
Did you ever see him try to access any areas of the library that are off limits or
No.
anything like that?
No.
Okay.
He mostly stayed on the second floor, and we don't really have, other than the circulation desk, the patrons can just like walk around.
All right. And the only other employee there that day was your boss, Miss Rosalind,
On the second floor.
on the second floor.
Yeah, on the first floor, it was my other coworker, another part-timer. Her name is Emily, and she told us, "Oh yeah, I asked him how he was doing, and he completely ignored me, but I didn't think anything of it because people sometimes are mission oriented.
Right.
They're like, I'm gonna get this thing, and I don't want to get distracted."
So he evidently came in through the first floor
Mhm.
entrance up the stairs to the floor that you were on.
Mhm.
So who were the names of the workers that were down on the first floor that would have seen him possibly?
Emily,
What's
I
that?
think her last name is Emily Walker.
Okay.
She's a part-timer, just like me. She was in the children's desk.
Okay.
And then Miss Francis, but I don't know her last name. She's been working at the library for years.
So there were only 2 down there on that floor, Miss Francis and
Miss Francis, Emily. Yes, and I think Paul was at lunch. So that's why he wasn't there.
Okay. And on the second floor was you and Miss Rosalind. What is there a third floor? Or something?
Yeah, but that's administration. He didn't go up there.
So the only workers that would have been able to see him would have been you, Miss Rosalind, and Emily, and
Miss Francis.
Miss Francis. Okay. All right. And is there anything else that you'd like to add to your statement?
Not really. I think I've said it all. I was legit scared. I was scared because you never know.
So
Yeah.
you perceived his behavior to be extremely suspicious then?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. If you can, just kind of describe to me why you thought this was suspicious.
Well, first, the way he talked to my boss. You can be rude in many ways, but he was rude and aggressive about it. His tone was just aggressive. And my boss is very sweet. Like that threw me off.
Okay.
That, and then the fact that he was looking at like the exit door and everything. I'm like, in my head, like I was making a scenario. I'm like, maybe he wants to start something. He has a gun or something like that, and he was looking for the closest exit.
Okay.
So that's what I thought. The whole walking around, looking out for the cameras and all that. Like,
So how long have you worked for the library?
$5.5 months, roughly.
So you've seen a lot of people coming in and coming out.
Yeah.
Patrons. Is the behavior that this gentleman exhibited Saturday, is that consistent and common with behavior you've seen from other patrons in the past?
No, we had one patron followed Emily actually, but that was taken care of. He was just being like, wherever she would go, he would go in the same area and all of that. But that was taken care of. That was fine. And at least he like picked up books and he would like walk around with a book.
But you've not noticed anyone else that came in to appear to be looking at exits and cameras or anything like
No,
that?
sir. No, sir.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
No, that's it.
I'm going to conclude your interview. Today's date is Thursday, January 27th, 2022. The time now is 11:54 a.m.
Is there anything else you need me to do? Or
No, I'm just gonna let you come right up here and have a seat.